1913, guns had a problem. They didn't last very long. Just after a few rounds, the internal surface of the gun barrel eroded. In other words, they suffered from excessive wear from heat and friction and consequently stopped working properly very quickly. This was a very big problem for the time because if you're a history buff like me, you know they would need better guns quickly. Tasked with finding metal alloys to make guns last longer, Harry Burley started his research. It was known at the time that adding chromium to steel increased the material's melting point, but no one had done proper research, and so he started playing with it. He tried a combination of iron, carbon, and chromium at about 0.2% carbon and 6 to 15% chromium by weight. Now, every time you create a new alloy, the best way to tell if it's good or not is through a method called metallography, which is basically looking at the metal structure with a microscope. The catch is that carbon steel is quite easy to polish and etch a piece of it for you to see it on the microscope. All you need is just a little bit of nitric acid and alcohol and voila. When he tried to do the same thing with 15% chromium, well, he just couldn't do it. He tried all kinds of chemicals and turned out that this new steel was way too resistant. Furthermore, it was also incredibly resilient to wear and tear, perfect for guns. However, the accidental discovery was that he quickly realized that this type of steel could be used for something else. Since he grew up in Sheffield, a city famous for the manufacturing of cutlery, he immediately put two and two together, and that is how we got stainless steel cutlery. Too bad he had to wait for the war to end before he could start his business. But at least guns got better just in time for the war. Continuing on the topic of guns and cutlery, this next invention turned out to be the exact opposite of what their creator wanted. This next guy could be classified as the stupidest genius of all ancient world. Legend says that in ancient China, alchemists were in search of the elixir of life, otherwise known as the potion that would grant you eternal life. For whatever reason, they thought that mixing sulfur, arsenic, and potassium nitrate, otherwise known as saltpeter, would grant you eternal life. Mind you that these elements are extremely toxic to humans. How they concluded that these were the ingredients for eternal life, I have no idea. But they knew it tasted terrible. So why not throw a little bit of honey to sweet things up and cook it on a hot stove? Ironically, they did find a potion that grants you eternal life. Just that it was the eternal afterlife. Talking about cooking the wrong things, in 1839, while trying to perfect his formula for hardening rubber, Charles Goodyear accidentally dropped a mixture of rubber and sulfur in a hot frying pan. To his amazement, it didn't melt or vaporize. Instead, it remained firm. As any good scientist would ponder, he thought for himself, what happens if I increase the heat? I mean, if he was aware of what happened to the last guy, he probably would have second thoughts. What is up with people's passion for burning things? Whatever. Luckily, the rubber just got really hard. He quickly realized that all you needed to make hardened rubber was a little bit of sulfur, and that is how we got the process of vulcanization. This next invention proves that dumb consumers can actually lead to good ideas, even though people that likes pineapple pizza should be in mental institutions. Hey, if it sells, what the hell? That is exactly what the guy that invented tea bags probably thought when he saw his idea being used the wrong way. As legend goes, Thomas Sullivan, in an attempt to get more people to try his tea, provided silk-bagged samples of tea to his customers. The idea was that the leaves were supposed to be taken out of the bag before consumption. However, tea lovers quickly noticed that brewing the tea with the bag solved two problems. It made possible for a single serving and no mess afterwards. While at first it may have been weird to see his samples used the wrong way, bro, what are you doing? Oh, this little bag works wonderfully well for brewing tea. You do realize that... Oh shit! Suddenly he realized what just happened. Not only he could make more money selling less tea, but people seem to love the idea of single-serving portions. Though this happened by complete accident, the question remains, were consumers the dumb ones for not understanding the way something was intended to be used as, or is it the creator of the product for not contemplating the full potential of his invention? Let me know in the comments. And talking about inventors that had no clue on what they were on about, Al Fielding and Mark Chavanes had a wonderful idea to make your house look amazing. Back in the day, wallpapers were kinda lame. You know, it is too flat. And these two gentlemen thought, hey, you know what will make wallpapers stick out? No, what? Making it 3D. Dude, you are... So they got two plastic shower curtains and bonded them together in such a way that air was trapped in little bubbles. Now, all they had to do is glue to the wall and put the wallpaper over it. Of course, the final product looked horrible, though its initial intent of use was a complete failure. And also, the next 400 possibilities that they came up with, they knew their product had potential. Only 3 years after they invented bubble wrap and massive failures, they finally got their success when IBM needed something to protect their newest computers, and the rest is history. You see, my dear viewers, in science, failure is just a stepping stone to success. And by stepping stone, I mean a really big, heavy, and expensive stone that you have to drag along with you for years until you finally figure out that that stepping stone is useless in real-world scenarios. Now you are in debt and can't find a job.
Good thing McDonald's is always hiring PhDs.